And welcome to the Dave K Show. I'm David K. Jaro. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Wow, what a great episode we just had. If you haven't watched the previous episode to this episode, go back and watch it. It was a jam-packed, action-filled, nonstop, balls to the wall, fun episode to watch. So with me I have is our beautiful co-host, Ms. Carstil DaSilva. How you doing?
I'm great. How you doing, Dave?
I've never been better. I can truly say I've never been better. I mean, things are looking up. The show's going great. What else can I say? We got surrounding myself with cool people like you.
Aw.
Absolutely. How can it go better? So, welcome to the show tonight. We got a jam-packed show tonight, right?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You're gonna be giving us some really, really good information. But before I go any further, let's go ahead and put a shout out to some of our cross promoters.
Okay. Don't forget to check out Point Capee Online News and Information Hub, PointCapee'sReporter.com, which features links to area media, articles about Point Capee. Dial them up on the web at PointCapeeReporter.com.
Absolutely. And who else do we have down here? Also, we have.
Oh, we have the
Yes.
Point Capee banner, Point Capee's oldest and only paper on. Point Capee's oldest and only paper. And
Yes.
now on Facebook.
Absolutely. They're on
Had a
Facebook
little
right
bit of
now,
a
right?
malfunction right there. We are live,
Yes.
people. So
Anything can happen with a live show. That's what we love about it. Everything's unpredictable, right? So Point Capee banner, PointCapeeReporter.com, and Dave K Show. There is no better place to get your information than these three sources right here.
So
right?
I love that they still do paper. You know me, I'm a paper girl.
Yes, you
so
are. Right.
I really love that.
You know, there's a study I think I read somewhere is that people who write down things on paper are generally more organized and they have clearer thought processes. Do you find that to be true?
That's a very sweet way of saying we have OCD.
Right.
Yeah, I probably do.
Right, exactly. And it stands to reason because write stuff down on paper. I listen to the John Test show every night when I'm working on the ambulance. So he has all these cool little fun facts and everything.
Oh,
so
yeah.
A lot of his stuff comes from like psychiatrists and psychologists and like studies and everything. And one of the studies said that when you write something down in a journal like you have right there, as opposed to say getting your phone out and putting it in a notepad and everything.
Yeah.
It's clearer to have something in your paper in your notebook because you can go flip right to it and read it.
Yep.
When you have to go on a computer and click folders and find stuff and open up applications, you go through all these different steps to try to find out what you're looking for. Your brain is just like fried or whatever.
And it's so weird. I put stuff in the calendar on my phone, but if I just put it in the calendar, I will forget about it.
Really?
Yes. So I have a paper calendar, and I write down everything in my
That's
paper.
great.
I never miss
Great.
it. If it goes on paper, I won't miss it. But if it's on my phone, then
Right. And well, my phone calendar will actually kind of remind me of the next event coming up automatically, so that's pretty
okay,
cool. But,
okay.
That works most of the time. But you're so used to just like flicking things off on your phone when they bug you.
I don't trust my phone because it's a newer phone, and I'm not that good with technology.
Right.
So
Right. I
yeah.
hear you. I hear you. So it's a necessary evil, is what we
Yeah.
always say. All right. So without further ado, we're going to talk about a great topic tonight. What are we talking about tonight?
We are talking about acting. We're talking about background work. Basically, just getting your foot into the industry, what you need to know, what you should know. If you're listening and you're new to the industry, I am here to. This is going to be the show to be on. I'm going to let you know basically, the necessities, what you need to do to get into acting professionally from ground zero.
Yes, and because these tips apply to anybody, no matter where you are acting in the United States or the world. But particularly, I want to talk to our people in Louisiana because they call Louisiana. They call it. Say again, Chris.
We got Gene on line one.
Okay, cool. Gene is on line one waiting. We're gonna give him in a second.
Awesome.
So we get in a second. So we call Louisiana LA South, Louisiana South, and we call Louisiana is LA, the other LA, Los Angeles,
Yes.
Louisiana.
Yes.
So the film industry is picking back up from like a dead spell, right? So
Yes.
so that means we have more reality shows, more episodic shows, more feature films, more short films coming into Louisiana, and so we're seeing a rise in all these productions coming in, right? So that means like a lot of people who want to be actors and stuff like that are finding jobs right now.
Oh yes,
Right?
definitely.
So what we want to do is,
definitely.
what I want you to help us do, you're going to help us. You're going to help us prepare people to get into the industry. Now you're going to take things from like a novice level, right?
Yes.
So we're not going to be having these like professional things like for experienced people. We're going to be baseline.
Yeah. This is just trial and error. This is stuff that I have personally done and experienced. These are the stuff I am telling you guys. These are facts. This is just I'm not going to tell you guys anything that's not right or anything like that. First off, I just want to talk about getting started in the industry, what you need, okay? Well, what you're going
I'm sorry. Let me back up a second. 'Cause it's very good.
Okay.
I got to qualify what we're fixing to talk about. Okay,
Mhm.
so there's a preconceived idea that when I get into the acting industry or the Hollywood industry, whatever, it's going to be all glitz and glamour and wow. Before you take another step, another tip, Carstil, tell people what they're getting into.
Wow. You actually,
Look in that camera and tell them what they're getting into.
acting is not glamorous. It's not glitz. It's not glitzy by no means. You're looking at long, exhausting hours, working for free
Yes.
80 to 90% of the time. You're looking at investing yourself mentally, emotionally, every single day. This is a full-time, overtime,
Yes. Right.
yeah, job.
Yes.
So
Just want to warn you before you
you
get into
need to
it.
be prepared.
Yes.
If you're in this to get rich and famous, you're in the wrong business.
Right.
You know,
It's like winning the
okay.
lottery. Like winning the lottery. Most people aren't going to win the lottery, but they buy a ticket. And some people might get a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Most people won't be a famous football player or a famous actor or whatever, but a lot of people can make a decent living off of
They
it.
can, and that was a goal I set for myself. I said, if I can just eventually get to a point where I can just, making a living, just a normal,
Sure, right. Yeah.
doing what I love. If you're in it because you love telling stories, this may be the right industry for you. But it's a job. It is a job, and like any job, you're not just gonna go into this job without the proper training.
Yes.
You go to school, you learn. Not everybody can act. I want to tell people, if you're wanting to get into acting, you need to go to school. I truly believe that. I thought I'd always wanted to be an actress, but it just came, a few years back to a point in my life where I was actually able to pursue it, because you're basically self-employed, and it does take money to really get started in this business. I watched this YouTube channel. She's real popular, but it's the Winner's Circle, and it cost about, for your first year of acting, you look at spending at least $10,000. At least, no, I'm serious.
Right.
Between going to school, headshots. Well, I'm going to go over all of that.
Yes, right. And what I want to do,
right
do
now.
is, like, while we're qualifying, being an actor and actress is all about. That's what I want to get Jean on the line to help qualify us. And then after, we're gonna let Jean go after that, and then we'll let you continue with all your bullet points. So is Jean on the line, Chris?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Okay. His
Yeah.
appointment must
Yeah,
have
Jean, if
arrived.
you're watching, call back and we'll get you on the air. But yes, continue to where you were headed, Carstil.
Okay. Well, basically what I was saying is, if you want to get into acting, you want to be prepared. This is a career, this is a job, and you need the proper training. So first off, number one, learn how to act.
Goes without saying, but right.
Yes, you need to learn how to act. There's so much more than just acting. There's, you need to learn how to work in front of the camera. You need to know about staying in frame, and it's just so much that comes along with it that you have to learn if you want to go into this business professionally. I'm still learning. I learn all the time. I'm constantly reading
It's
books.
a lifetime of learning, right?
Yes, it never stops. I'm constantly reading books or going to networking events and doing Skype lessons with different coaches. It's constantly learning, constantly testing yourself and pushing yourself. So yeah, definitely the
That's
first
great.
thing you want to do is learn how to act.
Excellent. Very good. Very good.
The second thing, once you learn how to act, while I was going to school, and there is a big debate about background, bad, good. Let me tell you, background is good for starting. If you want to be a professional actress, don't stay doing background. That's my personal opinion. Personal opinion.
Right. Good starting point, right?
It's a good starting point. I say do it for a while you're attending acting school. That's what I did. My acting teacher told me about it. She's like, that's where you want to start, just so you learn the terminology. You learn what it's like to be on a set, working on a real movie set. And sometimes opportunities happen. They don't happen all the time, but I remember sitting on a bus and somebody walked on the bus and they're like, I need somebody that's 5'7". Nobody raised their hand. I said, well, I'm 5'8".
Right.
So they yanked me off the bus, and all of a sudden I'm standing on Cloak and Dagger.
Yes.
And even though I don't put stand-in work, is not going to get me acting, speaking roles. I will put stand-in work on my resume because it can lead to other stand-in jobs.
Let me ask you this real quick. So people are going like, what is stand-in versus background?
Well, not everything on YouTube is correct. The only central casting I could find on YouTube was Los Angeles.
Wow, really?
So I went to YouTube and I'm all hyped up thinking, man, I got to get there early in the morning. I dragged me and my son. He was my my little tag along.
Right.
We get there at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, typical.
And it's inside of this big building. You can't even get in at 5 in the morning. There's nobody there.
Come on.
They finally let me in, and they're like, yeah, this isn't Los Angeles. This is Louisiana. They open it, I think, 9 or 10.
Okay,
And
right.
needless to say, I was the first one there.
Right, which is good in most cases, but this is an extreme case.
Yeah,
Right,
so,
right.
just,
So the time zone was messed up? Is that what happened?
No, just in Los Angeles, central casting is a lot busier for some reason than it is here in New Orleans.
Right.
Yeah, so, you still will get work with them, don't get me wrong, but you don't need to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning. You're
Right.
going to get your spot, don't worry.
Right. And so we hear a little bit of feedback in there, Chris.
Yeah.
Is somebody on the line?
Or is that me
I
echoing?
think so.
Yeah, I don't know if that was feedback coming over the line or something. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, you good.
So, real quick, I do want to let people know now as far as this background work goes,
Yes.
because I have work background and, and I hear so many people talking. I don't want to be that person or jump into the conversation and try to correct people. But if you're new to the industry, let me clarify something, okay? Background is not acting. I respect background artists,
That's a good point.
okay? I do
With
respect.
all due respect, that's a
With
good
all
point.
due respect,
Yes.
I've been there. It's a great starting point. But background acting is exactly what it is. You're a background. You're an extra.
Okay, we got Jean again.
And I just real quick before Jean comes on, okay? A background actor, I'm going to give you the breakdown. A background actor or extra is a performer in film, television show, stage, a musical who appears in a non-speaking, non-singing role.
I.e., non-acting.
Yes. Example, in an audience or a busy street scene. So I'm not dogging background. It's a great starting point, but it's not acting. Do not put this on your resume. Casting directors, not being mean, but they're going to look
Right.
at you like you're crazy. This is
Right.
not giving you any advantage. If anything, it's giving you a disadvantage. Do not put this on your professional acting resume.
Yes.
And I'm going to get into how you can get speaking roles and stuff to go on your resume here in a little bit, but right now I'm going to hand the line over to Jean Franquez.
Hello, Jean. Welcome. Hey there, Gene. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, Jean.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for calling in.
Well, I saw you on the air and I said, okay, I can offer my 2 cents.
Right.
Definitely. Well, you have a lot of experience in film and TV and all that.
Yeah, I've got quite a few years built in. 20
Just a
years in
few, huh?
I'm sorry?
I said just a few, huh?
Yeah, just a few. Like I said, it's 20 years in radio and television, and then almost 20 years in Hollywood movies. So, yep, just
Wow.
a little bit.
Well, thank you so much for calling, and I know you've probably got some really great things, pointers you can give those people that are listening in and watching the show.
Yes, I can. Have you got specific questions that maybe I can answer?
All right.
Okay, I'm back.
1 second.
All right, Gene, still on the line?
Well,
Yep, still here.
now I'm speaking of people as far as stuff that I actually know about. I do not know everything. I'm not saying that I know everything. This is just stuff that I personally have gone through and experienced. I know for facts. Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to people a little bit? There's one thing I don't know a lot about because I haven't gotten there yet. Something I'm working on. Why don't you talk to people about SAG and basically, what makes you SAG eligible and all that good
And
stuff.
what is SAG?
And what is SAG?
Okay, well, that's a good place to start, but I think what I might want to do is back up a little bit on and before we get all the way up to becoming SAG. The thing that a lot of people don't realize is that uh, you've got to start somewhere. Now, this is my best advice, especially if they're real young, they're still in high school, and they think they might want to be in movies. And even for the grown-ups, the vast number of people, grown-ups that are working background, if they were able to get any experience in theater, that is so much positive training for the movie business. I mean, you learn how to memorize lines, you learn how to work with directors, taking direction, being different characters, and things like that. And that's where you really need to start if it was possible. Now, with that said, is it imperative? No. It just that it helps. Um, there are a lot of people that are now famous movie actors that have never had theater.
Mhm.
So now the first thing when you're talking about movies, and I'm not sure if you spoke on it, is background. And um,
That's what I was about to get into. I just got done talking about background and how it's a great starting point. But I also let people know that background is not it's not act it's not it's not
Acting.
considered acting, and not talking bad on background. It's a great starting point, but it's not something you put on your resume. And I'm about to get into letting people know how they can get speaking roles and what type of steps they can take so that they can get that experience.
well, the way I explain background is that whenever you're working background or extra work, you're nothing more than paint in the background. You are not the focus point, and you're not meant to be the focus point. You're a fill, and uh, I guess, and let me say this, and I don't mean in any way, shape, or form to contradict what you said. I understand exactly where you're coming from. It's not acting, but at the same time, you still need to know what to do so that you blend in the background, and that takes a little bit of a skill. Not everybody can do background work either. Um, and it also takes a lot of discipline to work background, and it takes a commitment to work background.
Well,
Now,
and you know what? And I have to apologize when I say it's not acting. That came out the wrong way. It's not speaking roles. It's
right,
Yeah, you're not going to have on-camera experience speaking. You're basically being paid to blend in, and there is some acting required. You have to be able to. Maybe they want you, you know, in a fight with somebody. You're gonna have to get like you're gonna have to kind
You,
of act like you're agitated, and maybe
Take
well,
directions too.
take directions and
right. And again, even as background, the director may, or the first assistant director may say something like, "I want you to look, scared." You're not speaking, but you still have to have the facial expressions. But what background does is that it gives you a knowledge on what it's like to work on a full feature film, a multi-million-dollar film. Because you got to remember, this is a business, and it's big money in this business, and you have a job to do.
hmm
Whether you think it's important or not, everything in the movie business is important so that the film comes out the way that it's supposed to. Now, a person working background, and some people, they're fine with it for the rest of their lives. Nothing wrong with that. Other people, they want to try and advance and get a speaking role. Well, if you're going to do that, then what you need to do is take acting lessons. There are a ten years I've worked a multitude background, and all that does is tell the person reading the resume is that good, you're not a stranger and you're not brand new to the movie industry. Okay. The next thing you have to have, if you're going for a speaking role, is a reel. Now I know that you and I have spoken. In fact, both of you and I have spoken in individual conversations of what it takes to get a reel. And boy, I tell you what, people don't like this word, free work.
Right.
And
yeah,
Yep.
that's what I was
yeah,
about. That was
Yes.
my next topic I have on here. Just free work,
yeah,
doing independent films. Do the 48-hour film project. Do student films. You do what you have to do to try to get that footage together.
well, you're exactly right with that. And when I was out there doing background work, I was making a little money, and at the same time, I've worked a lot of free movies. I was first assistant director for Savage Light Studios, and we made a series called Project Z, zombie movies. And while there, I worked with the director and owner of Savage Light Studios, Chris Hoffman, and the learning just continues when you're taking positions like that, and none of it was paid. As a matter of fact, I contributed money to it, and that's what happens sometimes. But when you do audition and you do get a speaking role, that gives you experience in front of the camera. And if you do well enough, then what you do is take the short 15-second quips, if you will, out of that movie where you're speaking, and you put several of those together, and you make what's called a reel. Now, I've heard of people doing 5-minute reels. No, your reels can be as little as 30 seconds or as much, and no more than 90 seconds, because when directors and producers are trying to fill a slot, they don't have time to watch 5 minutes of you acting. So you want to put your best foot forward. You do it quick, to the point, because they're experienced enough to recognize whether you're right for the part or not. And I've been a director of casting on several films, And I know that to be a fact because I don't have the time to watch everybody's 3-minute reel. Even a 2-minute reel is very, very long. So you do a bunch of those, and you don't do a reel from the same movie. This is why you do. I mean, I did 3 years worth of independent movies and took from each of those, and that's how you make a reel showing your skills and doing a variety of parts. Does all this making any sense? The way I'm explaining it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay,
So,
and yes, sir.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that Carstil mentioned the different places that you can get independent movies. There are some independent directors out there. In fact, I was on the phone with one early this afternoon. This is the first time that I was able to talk with her, and we will have other conversations. She does independent films. Carstil mentioned about the student films with the colleges around here. My God, yes. Because in each of these independent films, you have to audition for a speaking role and then hopefully get it, and then you start memorizing your lines, and then you got to perform. And you have the world-famous 48-hour film project.
Right.
Yeah, David, you are a director, producer in the 48-hour film festivals. In fact, you have your own team each year.
Yes, we've done 3 of them so far.
Wow,
Yeah,
congratulations.
This will be our 4th one coming up next year.
Exactly. So when I say these things, I know David is shaking his head going, yep. That's exactly it. I don't have the time to watch everything.
Right.
But the 48-hour film project, which is led by Bill Rainey, and Bill has, God, I don't even know how many years he's got in the film industry, but he's excellent at what he does. He runs, along with his team, and I'm proud to say that I'm part of that team, the 48-hour film festival, where we have, I think last year we had 54 teams.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's amazing.
A lot.
Yeah, we wound up with that many different films. Those 7-minute films, that's what it's about. And boy, that's a way to get you a ton of experience.
Yes.
And also, it gets your face out there. It gives you some credibility. And those, when they're given to you, you can take your part out of it and then decide what part of your performance that you want to include in a reel. So your reel is your resume along with your printed resume. And that's why it takes time unless lightning strikes. Now, what I mean by that is it has happened where people have gotten leading roles by working background. Now, does it happen often? We would hope, we would wish that it would happen more often, but no, it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. And that is one way to get started into getting a speaking role. I know that I was contacted because with me being prior military, I've done a lot of military funerals for veterans, and they needed somebody that knew how to do military funerals. And so I got pulled into a very, very popular weekly television series. And once you get a speaking role on a SAG film, now SAG stands for Screen Actors Guild, and that is the union that actors belong to. But once you get a speaking role, that makes you SAG eligible. And that's when you can step up and join the Screen Actors Guild. And then from there, you start auditioning for speaking roles on other SAG films. Now, how am I doing so far?
Doing great.
Great.
I wanted to, so that's what we want to know about the SAG, and we're going to let Carstil bump us down to the second rung on the ladder and start back up again. But what I wanted to get from Eugene before I let you go, we're going to take over after that. I wanted to get your take before we even start talking about the acting industry and everything. Carstil did a great job earlier of talking about, okay, first of all, before you get into this industry, tell us, Gene, what the acting industry is all about. Maybe, so to speak, warn us about the acting industry. Warn people that want to get into this industry about what truly,
to expect.
Yes, right. What to expect.
Okay, in the military, we had an old saying: "Hurry up and wait."
Right.
brother.
Yes.
That
Well,
really explains. this
Memorize that.
industry.
Tattoo that on your forehead.
Oh my God!
That's right.
Well, first of all, and it can be some. Now, let's talk about background. That's because God, I've had so many experiences in background, and there are times that I have worked several 20-hour straight days. I mean, you work in 20 hours straight.
It's
And
amazing.
now, does that mean that you're digging a ditch for 20 hours? No, but you're there and available for 20 hours straight. Now, the good thing about it is that our paychecks are a little bit larger because you're working more hours,
Right.
but they do have it. And also, I have also been called, and I've been put in what's called holding, waiting for them to need you. And they never called me at all, and I was there for 12 hours
Yeah.
doing nothing. I still get paid, but they didn't need me, and that does happen.
Yeah, there will be
So
days where you're there and you wait, and they don't even use you for the day.
Yes.
Exactly. Then there are those days where you're waiting and waiting. You're there for 4 hours. You're getting tired. Then all of a sudden they come in and say, "Okay, come on, let's go. Let's go. We gotta go
Right.
to set."
The
Wait,
calm before the storm.
Wait, Gene, don't forget to tell them about this. So expect to, in the wintertime, expect, expect to be on set in probably summer clothes in the freezing cold. And in the summertime, expect to normally be on set dressed like it's winter or fall. So
It's true. Yeah.
be prepared for some very hard working environments.
Yes.
Oh, I can give you an example of both, but I'm going to give you the cold weather example. I worked background. I played a professor.
I did Becoming a God in Central Florida, and let me tell you, it was freezing. They had me in this little skimpy summer dress, and
Oh wow.
man, and then you see people walking around with heaters, and it's not us,
Right.
and you're just sitting there going,
Right.
Well,
Yep.
I'm also a modeling photographer, and I remember one time the temperature was 37 degrees, and we did a ferry shoot. All the models were dressed as fairies, and their
Wow.
little fairy, what do you call that, tutu that they wear, and the wings and
Right.
things like that.
Mhm.
The costume.
Of course, the vast majority were very young kids, and I don't know what it is about kids, but I envy them because they do not feel cold, but we do. And here I am with my big leather jacket trying to take pictures and shivering, and these kids are going, "Okay, I'm ready for the next one." So same thing
Right.
in the movie business. You've got to, you're there to portray a certain thing, and that's your job to do that.
Yes.
So it's just part of it.
Very much so.
Yep.
You
So
got-
yeah, I guess to take away from it all is to get in the acting industry, you have to be a hard worker. You have to have a good work ethic. You have to be a go getter. Because you heard the term, a chain is only strong as its weakest link.
oh, and
Absolutely.
let me
So,
say this real
Go
quick.
ahead. Yeah.
In this industry, if you just have a normal job right now and you can't make it to work on time,
Yes.
don't go into acting, because let me tell you something. Dependability is one of the biggest
Key. Right.
things. It's key.
Yes.
Because if these casting directors can't depend on you to be on set or be on time, you're not going to get
No,
work. It
you're
doesn't
outta here.
matter if you're an incredible actor. If they can't trust you to be where you're supposed to be, just think if they have you in a multi-million-dollar film and you just happen to have a really good role,
Right.
and they need you there, like you have to be there, and you don't show up or you're late, you're holding them all up.
You're holding the whole production up.
You're
just 'cause of
holding
one
the whole
person.
production up because one person's late. So like I said,
Well,
if you're not dependable and you're not reliable, I mean, you have to do a self check. If you
well,
can't be where you're supposed to be on time, then this is definitely the wrong industry to be getting into.
well, I have a saying that if you're on time, you're late. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time.
Exactly,
great.
and that's exactly right, Gene.
That's a great thing to put in your other professional life, no matter where you work.
Oh, exactly,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yep. Nobody wants to
And
hear
like Car-
excuses when you show up late, unless somebody
Mm-mm.
died or something. Right.
well, even that.
Yeah.
That's right.
But the Carstil was hit on a real good subject point also, that if well, first of all, don't work in the industry if you don't love the work. If you're doing it for the money, man, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Yes.
If you love
You
telling
do it because
stories
you
and you
love it.
love acting,
And then the second thing is that don't accept the job, for example, as a background, if you're not going to be available. You make sure that you're absolutely available. So, and that's just part of the business. It's a fun business. Look, I have some unbelievable, great friends because of this industry, and I mean, we all get along just really, really well. Yeah, there's always a few out there that, is not as positive as you would like them to be. But all in all, I've made some very dear, lifelong friends.
Right.
You two, it goes without saying, are what I consider lifelong friends.
aw,
Right.
And,
Yeah. Likewise.
likewise, Gene,
we're
definitely.
like-minded, and when we talk, I mean, David, you and I have discussed a film that you're going to be doing, and we sat down, we talked about it, and I mean, both of us have the same thoughts for the same
Yes,
way.
it's amazing.
We are so compatible
Yes.
that working with you is like working for myself. So
It's
like
amazing. It really
great.
is.
And that's
Yes.
what you got to do, and
It's
learn
amazing.
how to take orders, listen for directions,
Yes.
mouth closed, eyes open, and ears open, but the mouth needs to stay closed.
Yes. So true. So true.
So-
That is right. That's right. Well, that is great, man. We got a lot more topics we're going to cover with Carstil that you wrote down, but that's some good pointers to get us started for sure. But the takeaway of the whole thing is know what you're getting into. It's a hard industry. The glitz and glamour only comes for a brief little moment after all the work is done.
How many times I've heard, "Wow, Gene, you did a good job." Okay, praise is over. Next.
Right. That's right. That's right.
But I know to expect that, so it's not an issue. It's not a negative. It's just the way it is in our industry. But like I said, find some good acting classes out there. They're talk with other
And-
background
yeah.
actors and other SAG actors.
And that's another thing I wanted to say real quick. I went through one acting school, but also another one that is really good, and I want to give him a shout out. I have not had the pleasure of working with him. I hope I get to soon. But Mr. Jim Gleason
Yeah.
in New Orleans with the
Yes.
Working Actors
Yes.
Studio.
He was here in this class earlier this year teaching
Wow.
classes.
I've
Yes.
met him. I've had
He's
the
great.
pleasure of meeting him and speaking to him on the phone a couple of times. I met him at, I believe, the North Shore Film Alliance. And
Yeah, he's amazing.
he does like the little advice of the week or tip of the week or whatever, and I try to tune in and watch those. And
Yes.
I know many. I'm not going to name names, but I know many successful actors and actresses who have come out of his class, and I haven't heard anything bad. So, Mr. Gleason, if you're listening,
Yes.
Yeah.
so he
Oh,
he is really good. He is really
Christian
good.
Stokes is
So
another one.
and there's
Christian Stokes is another one.
what's that again, Jane?
Christian Stokes is another one.
Oh
Christian
yes, Christian Stokes, Mr. Stokes baby. I actually worked with Christian at the Screen Park. Those of you that don't know, he's in charge of the Screen Park in New Orleans every year. I was
Oh,
one of his
yeah.
actors. So
Oh, wow. Yeah.
yes, definitely. He is one to go to.
Yeah, if somebody's watching, go ahead and tag him on this thread right here so he can kind of see us talking about him. That's great.
And
Real
another thing I
nice
wanna-
guy, super nice.
Another thing I want to mention is, and I don't mean to self-promote, but you better have some good headshots.
Yes.
I mean, God, that
Oh
is,
yeah.
they
Well, I-
harp on that.
I have that on my list right here, Gene.
Yes. Yep. We
Yeah,
gotta
you
find it.
definitely Definitely need.
And
good
you don't want to
headshots.
you don't want to self promote, but I'll promote you also. So once we get to that topic in a second, if anybody out there is watching after you watch our program and you want to get started, that's very important. Go to Gene Franquez, and he's going to get you set up with your headshots and everything.
And Jane's located. You're located in your shop's in Metairie, but I know Jane, you do travel if need be, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, another thing, and this kind of ties in, the North Shore Films Alliance in Mandeville has a meeting once a month.
Yep, I'm about to bring that up. Yeah.
Yes, the second
Great.
Tuesday, but that's a good networking. And I used to do headshots there. You know, somebody that need some quick, fresh headshots, I would do that. I've been tied up because of the holidays, and I'm going to have to get back with them again and see about starting that up again. But irregardless, networking is another big thing.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
my next topic I'm about to get on is networking.
So Gene's giving all the answers away here. So.
I'm running out of stuff to talk about, Gene.
All right. The last thing I'm going to say is that this is a networking, but at the same time, this is kind of a great thing to attend. Is that once you become an actor, then we have the Actors Christmas Party, which all three of us are going to on December the 7th. And in fact, I take pictures of all the people at the Christmas party and post them. And so that's another networking. So, but yet it's also a lot of fun.
Yes.
Food is delicious.
Oh, yes, great. I know William Gill is out there sometimes actually filming the red carpet, getting interviews and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, William Gill I've been knowing Bill for a long time. And right now, I don't even know if he's in the country.
Yeah, I know. He was in Haiti last time I checked. Yeah, he's always all over the place.
But, hey, it was really
And misinformed, and they really don't know. And I had to learn things the hard way, getting into the business, and it was, a lot of trial and error. So I try to help those that I can, just so they don't have to make the same mistakes I've made in the past, and kind of give them a clean path to go down.
Exactly. I get asked all the time. I get approached or called or contacted, and they say, I want to get into acting. What do I do? I said, okay, meet me at PJ's coffee shop, and let's sit down, and I'll give you
There
a
you go.
rundown.
He loves him some PJs.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, that's great, man. You'll definitely get him hooked up for sure. So, well, we're going to see you tomorrow. We're coming out to your place to take some pictures tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
Oh,
Very
yeah,
excited.
Yes, that's going to be great.
Big photo shoot. Oh, God, yes.
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
We got a
That's gonna be
couple of different things we got going on tomorrow with that. So
great. Yes, right.
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna be a busy guy.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm in fact, I've got two of my clients sitting with me right here now, and I got to do theirs. As soon as I hang up, I'm going to start doing their photo shoot. I'm going to do their shot with a Christmas background so they can use it for their Christmas card.
Great.
Oh,
And
great.
Very good.
And the young lady, I'm going to do a few modeling shots.
Great.
I talked her into letting me do that. So
Well, she
it's
will
gonna
be
fun.
happy that she chose you. I promise you that.
Oh, yes.
That's very kind of you to say. Thank you, Terry, and Carstil. Thank you
Yes.
both.
You're welcome.
Right. Gene can take a beautiful girl and make her even more beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And this one is a redhead.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
really?
no. He's got a weakness for redheads,
Oh,
ladies.
all right. He'll take a
He's
blonde and make her
right
redhead.
So,
All right,
all right,
Gene.
guys. Look, it's been a real pleasure. It's been an honor, and I hope I was able to shed some light on things. So, again,
Definitely.
thank y'all so much.
Thank
right,
you,
sounds great. Well,
Gene.
thanks
We
for
love
coming.
you, and thank you so much. And we'll see you soon on the show, okay?
Sounds
Yes.
great. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye,
Okay,
Gene.
bye-bye.
All right, great. So as you see, Gene is like a wealth of information. We got to rein him in. Rein him in. Hang on a
I
second.
know.
You keep jumping the gun on us. So kind of like temporarily forget everything that you just heard Gene say, and we're going to take it from Carstil's point of view.
Oh no, it's okay. No, Gene,
I'm just
Gene,
joking.
no, Gene. He is great, and I'm so grateful. That he shared a lot of information with me, stuff that I didn't know.
Yes. So take
but-
us back where we started from.
No, well, the only other thing I really want to talk about is networking. He was getting into the networking aspect, and that's something that I really wanted to talk about. When you get into acting, people need to realize that you're starting your own business.
Yes, right. Yes, you are.
And your business is yourself. You're promoting yourself, and it takes money to get into this business.
Right.
That's why, and it's really hard to keep a job, a regular 9 to 5, because this business is very unpredictable. You'll get calls at the last minute. You're constantly needing to go to auditions. One thing I found that helped me, and a lot of actor friends of mine are doing, because you do need a residual income unless
Yes, right.
you're really fortunate and you have someone to support you.
Right.
So a lot of my friends, they're doing the Uber and Lyft thing.
Yeah, okay.
And it's really great that we have that nowadays, because if you have a car and insurance, you can make money on your own schedule.
Right, especially living in a big city.
And I know several actor friends. They've all worked at Domino's. I put my time in there,
Right.
but it's a little harder because they do have a schedule you have to adhere to, and
Yes.
it makes it kind of difficult. But yeah, there's those options. So if you're just getting into acting, just know that it does cost money. You need professional headshots, and you need to keep those updated.
Yes.
And if you're a woman, especially, and you love to cut your hair and change your hair and your styles, that's fine and dandy. But just know every time you cut your hair or you change the color, that's money for new headshots. So I suggest
true.
find the color and find the look you like and stick with
That's
it.
a good idea. Very good. Yes. Right.
It's not that's not as big as a problem with guys,
right.
but with us women, we kind of, and I'm the same way. I get really bored with my hair, and I want to change it up all the time, but
Right.
I can't afford to change my headshots all the time.
Yeah, and then a lot of times when you change your look, you limit what you're available for.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you can put a wig. Who
Exactly.
wants to put a wig on? You know what I'm
And
saying? Yeah.
I don't know why. Do not ask me, but they do not like wigs in the industry. Don't do headshot pictures with wigs. That's not your real hair. Don't do it.
True. Yes.
Just a little FYI there.
Right.
But self-promoting, you want to self-promote. You're working for yourself, so it's going to cost money. You need to get good headshots. I recommend Gene Frankes. He's good. Gene, don't kill me for saying this, but another one is Magazine Street Headshots. Jacksonville's. He's really hard to get, though, because he does, I think he's based out of Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
But he
wow.
does come in occasionally.
Right. He's kind of backed up.
Yeah, he's
too.
kind of backed up. But my go-to personally is Gene. He does a fabulous job. Just because I was trying to get more than one name on it,
sure, right. Because Gene couldn't handle all the work anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But Gene does phenomenal work, and he does all my modeling portfolios and my headshots personally.
Right,
so.
I know. He does great. And what Gene will do is he'll be taking your pictures, still giving you advice. Like I said, you always learn something with Gene.
You're always
And
learning something.
And that's free. You don't charge extra for
He
that.
doesn't charge for advice. You can get educated very well.
Yes. Yes. Very good.
so
What you
you-
got next on the list?
So another thing is what I want to talk about is promotion. Promotion in this industry, like I said, you work for yourself, so you want to get your face known. You want to get known in the industry, so you need to be able to take time and go to networking events. And as Gene mentioned, my go-to is the North Shore Film Alliance. I'm a proud member. I love those guys. It's such a nice group of people. It's like a big family over there.
Right.
And
right. And you could probably, I imagine, if you join the alliance, you could probably get some work pretty quick, right?
Really, you can. You can. Just don't be shy. You're not in the industry to be shy. This one right here, I tell you, I'm not shy. I will ask you if I see an opportunity. The most they can do is say no.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be like, hey.
That's right.
I can do that.
Exactly.
You
You know, I want you to expound upon a lot of people get discouraged when they go audition for a part and they don't get the job or they
It's,
don't they
you're
don't get
just
it.
not the type,
Thank
but
you.
your
Talk
type
about
will
that. And it's
come.
not necessarily something they did bad, but talk a little bit about that.
Let me tell you something, people. They say you'll get 50 no's before you get a yes. Well, let me break it down to reality. You might get 100 no's
Mm.
before you get one yes. And it's not nothing that you're doing. It's the type. They may already have somebody. They the casting directors may already, for example, you go to an audition. You may be perfect, and they love your technique, they love your look, but they may have already casted some like a guy for that part that's going to be the lead, and you be working with him, but you don't match his type. Do you see what I'm
Yeah, makes
saying?
sense. Right. That's right. Yes. Right. That's
Um,
right.
so,
And
I
so,
mean, you just may not be, what they're looking for. But believe me when I tell you, something will come up and you will be somebody's type. But, if you can't, if you go into this business and you don't do well with rejection, you're in the wrong
yes, you have tough
business.
skin, right?
I'm not trying to scare people off, but you have to be able to accept criticism, constructive
Very
criticism.
important. Yes.
You need a thick skin in this business, and if you don't, you're probably not in the right business,
Right.
you
Because you really,
know?
essentially, you become a public figure when you become an actor. You
Exactly.
become somebody that's out there in the public, and there's always going to be somebody that loves you, and there's always going to be somebody that hates you.
Not everybody is going to love you. That's just
Yes,
in life in
that's
general,
true. That's true. Amplified 10 times in the film
Yeah,
industry. That's right. Right.
exactly.
So be prepared.
Exactly.
Whenever you put yourself on a pedestal or ladder, you can fall pretty easily. So, like you said, take everything with a grain of salt, and don't even pay attention to people that talk bad about you. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Let it go in one ear and out the
right.
other.
Right.
You know what? And
Exactly.
as far as constructive criticism goes, bring it on. You know what? Because you're helping me. I'm. You may be telling me something that I don't see, and I can change. If I
Right.
know about it, I can change it. But
Yes.
if I don't know, then how do I know it needs to be worked on? So,
Exactly. Right.
don't get an attitude or get upset every time somebody tells you something.
Yes, that's
You
right.
know.
And you as a person can choose to do what they say or choose not to do it.
Exactly. It's up
That's
to
right.
you. You're making your own path. This is you. You're working for
Mhm.
yourself. So
Yes,
that's on
exactly.
you.
Are we? Let me go back. Are we finished talking about the background? Have you moved on from that
Yeah,
background?
I have. I moved.
I had a comment I wanted to make.
Okay.
So I see I've done quite a few background extras in my years. Also, I've been in New Orleans numerous times, and so when you get the herd of the tent set up and all the background people come in the tent, you have hundreds of people from all walks of
Cattle
life.
calls.
Yeah, cattle calls. You got doctors, you got lawyers, you got janitors in there. You got everybody up in there, and
Mhm.
it's so cool to see the hodgepodge of people in there. With that said, we got to watch out because there are some people that are there looking for a hookup. And I've seen numerous people get kicked off set for making comments toward women or girls or whatever, guys fondling women or touching them or whatever. That is not to be tolerated. Zero tolerance, even possibly breaking the law. So if you think you're going to go to a film as a background actor with all these pretty girls and get a hookup or something, you are going to get yourself in trouble very quick. I just had to put
Very
that in
quick.
there. Not only did I notice that, but Timmy was in quite a few of them. He noticed that also.
Oh yeah, and it's
No,
very annoying.
it
And
is.
guys, if you're one of those guys that are doing it, stop it because we are not interested. We are there to do a job, just like you
Absolutely.
are. There's a
Absolutely.
time and a place. This is work.
Yes,
You know,
exactly right.
it's
Keep
a
your hands to
working.
yourself, like the song says.
Exactly. It's a
And
working professional environment. Be respectful of your coworkers.
yes,
So
that's all we need to say about that, pretty much. But just heed the advice because it's very true.
yes,
Okay, I'm
thank
sorry.
you for bringing that up because
Yes.
it's very true.
Right, and it always happens. It's always the guys that are trying to hit on the girls. I never see any girls hit on the guys because the girls. I notice the women at these casting calls or these background things. They are focused. All the girls are focused. They're there for a reason to
Exactly.
get that part. They're not worried about some guy or something.
Exactly.
So anyway,
Exactly.
right. So anyway, so what you got next? You got a lot of stuff on your paper. That's great. That's good.
Oh, it's okay. I just wanted to
That's
talk
good.
about. I'm still on networking, so like I said, I actor, go to the events. Have your headshots with you. Have a resume. Have business cards. Whatever. Go
Great.
there. Promote yourself. Don't
Great
be scared to
points.
go up to people because this is a networking event. That's what the people are there to help. If you're interested in writing, there's writers there. There's you name it. There's
Wow,
somebody
that's
that can
incredible.
help you with it.
Yes.
So, and another great tool to have is just Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Let
Free.
me
It's
let
free,
me
isn't
tell
it?
you, people. I have an agent, and my agent. I'm not going to go naming names.
Your
He's
57 months out.
awesome. He is awesome, and he does get me a lot of auditions. But for every 10 auditions he gets for me, I get myself 20 because I am
Mhm.
constantly looking.
Yes.
You know, it's your job to constantly be working, constantly be looking. You know, get on Actors Access. You know, that's Actors Access. I love
That's
me
great.
some Actors
Right. Is
Access.
it free to sign up initially? Is it like a payment plan, or how does it work?
You can pay by the month or by the year.
Okay.
And
What do you get with it when you join?
man, well, the package I have to look on there right now. I think it's been almost a year since I
Right.
paid last time.
So you can pretty much just like upload a bunch of pictures. You can put your
Yeah,
resume, and
you can.
most of all, it's a central point that a lot of people know about, that they go to the central point.
Yes, you go on there. You apply for work. They have work all over. Myself, I travel, so I'll look for work outside of like my zone.
Right, whatever
I,
city you might be in.
yeah, I go to Atlanta, I go to Texas. Shoot, I'll look at New York and Los Angeles if it's for big commercials and stuff. It'd be
Yes.
worth it for me to go
Hey, you
out
were in
there.
Dallas recently, weren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love me some Texas, boy. They love them some Carstil DaSilva too.
Right.
Boy, I go to Texas quite a bit.
Right. That's great. Yeah, it's a big place in Texas.
Oh yeah, that's another spot. There's a lot of work out there too. But
Everything's bigger in Texas.
oh yeah.
Yep. Hopefully the roles are bigger too. So,
But another thing as far as networking, like I said, go to Facebook. Get on as many like legitimate acting sites. If you're into modeling, get on Model Mayhem, places like
Mhm.
that. Just, do your research,
Yes.
apply, look, I just wrote down a
Mhm.
couple on here for you guys. If y'all give me just a minute, I
Yeah,
got
go
so many
for it.
pages.
Go for
I
it.
wanted to be able to, especially the people that are new to the industry, kind of give you some legitimate go-to places. Now, for background, there is the holding tent. You
Mhm.
can go to Facebook, go to the holding tent. They're always advertising background work
I
on
think
there.
Bill Rainey actually puts that out. Don't he?
Yeah, he sure does.
Yep.
Mr. Bill Rainey does
Yep.
that, and it's a great go-to. There's Hollywood South.
Mhm.
Hollywood South is great. Oh, and as far as casting sites, now, if you're on a budget, of course, Actors Access. If I had to pick from any of them and only one, that would be my one to go to.
Mhm. Right.
Okay.
You got the best amount of success on that.
Yeah, and it's really easy to upload your headshots and videos and
Mhm.
stuff on there too.
Right.
I'm not real good with the editing part. I usually have to
Uh-huh.
get somebody.
Right. Help you out.
So
Help you
yeah.
out. Right.
Another one, film in Louisiana. There's Louisiana casting calls.
Great. You got a bunch of them. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through a couple of these.
Yeah.
We've got.
Name them all. That's great.
Oh, this is a good one for people that are trying to get their video reels and stuff. Louisiana Indie Film Community. They're
Hmm.
really good. We've got NOLA, NOLA, NOLA Actors.
Yes, I'm part of that one. That's good.
Yeah, Louisiana Film Network. We've got a lot of those. Are really, really good. Just go on there, do your research. Google it.
Mhm.
Google film Louisiana casting calls, whatever.
Yes.
Just
right.
get on as many of those Facebook groups as you can. And I've actually got I've got some SAG auditions off there.
Great.
I've gotten a lot of stuff off. Just
That's
you gotta be
awesome.
careful, of course. There are some scams, just like anywhere,
Right. Yep.
And we are a pretty tight knit community. And I will say that most of these sites are really good about calling out the scammers and
Mhm. Right.
letting people know. But
Yes.
those are just
Right.
a few that I use. And also another casting site is Hollywood South. Hollywood South has been great. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten too much film stuff, or maybe that's just because of me. But I've
Mhm.
gotten a lot of commercial
Hmm.
auditions
Okay,
off
right.
Hollywood South,
Great.
and I am a member on there. I use it, so
Mhm. That's
and
awesome. That's very
Casting
good.
Networks is good, but I don't know about you guys, but me and Casting Networks fight because I can't ever get my photos and stuff uploaded
Hmm.
on there, and
Right.
just Actors Access, it makes it so easy. You just go in there, you click the photo, you click whatever video, and bam, it's on there.
Right. That's great.
No problem.
There's a like an unwritten law that I've noticed in the acting community, and you might be able to verify it. But how successful you are in the acting industry is directly proportional to how much work you put in to getting jobs. In other words,
Exactly.
what that translates into, if you don't do anything, sit on your butt, you're not going to get anything.
Let me tell you, this is a rule that I made for myself. Okay. Well, I maybe it's just me because I have such a passion. I love acting. I
Yeah,
love
it's
that.
evident. Right.
I mean, I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking, what can I do today?
Right. Right.
But I make it a point to myself every single day. I take 1 hour and do something industry related.
That is great. That's
Gain some
awesome.
knowledge,
Yes.
whether it's gaining knowledge, reading out of a book on acting or acting techniques, whether
Mhm.
it's working in my studio practicing my acting skills
That's
in front of
awesome.
the
Yes, I love it.
camera. Spend spend at least one day. Honestly, I spend a lot more than an hour a day,
Right.
but I
Right.
make a
Right.
point to at least a minimal
That's
an
great.
hour.
That is awesome. Yes, and that's
And that's
actually
really not a lot in this industry. You need to you need to work on your craft constantly.
but
There's
it,
so much competition out there.
yeah, but the thing
So
is you're
much.
consistent. The main thing is being consistent.
Oh yeah, you
Don't
have
just
to
do
be
something and then wait
consistent.
a week later and do something else.
Yeah.
Every day, like you said, do a little bit of something. That's great. And like I said, it's really a law. The law says that if I put my hand under a sink of running water, my hand's going to get wet. That's pretty much the law that's going to happen, right?
Oh
If I
yes.
drop this, the law says gravity's going to make this hit the table. The law says that if I bust my butt trying to get everything I can get out of the film community, I'm going to be successful and I'm going to get those jobs that I want.
Exactly.
Yes.
Be persistent. Be
Right.
persistent. Just you know, if you go to one audition and you're feeling good about it, okay, don't look back at it. Just go on to the next one.
Yes.
Just keep going.
Right.
And that's one thing I also want to say. It's really hard. It is. We're all human, including myself,
Right.
because you work so hard on your technique and rehearsing your lines. I don't know about it, but I do. I do.
Yeah. Everybody should be. Yes.
I put a lot of time into it to go to an audition, and you get there and you usually don't even get no feedback. You're sometimes,
That's the hard part.
yeah. I've been, you know what though, I've
Yeah.
been fortunate. I've heard a lot of people horror stories with, well, they were so rude they wouldn't even look at me, and you know, I've actually had really good experiences. Every casting director I've been in front of has been really friendly
Great.
and
Yeah, that's good.
nice.
And that there's a reason because they're mirroring what they're getting out of you. So that's a reason
But
for
I
that.
just go in, try to be approachable, and don't talk their head off. Now, that's one thing I do have to watch because luckily the ones I've dealt with have been very sweet and patient.
Right.
But I tend to
Right.
talk myself out of things sometimes
Right.
because I
Right.
talk too much.
Right. They can do that. Yes. They're in a hurry. They want to hurry and get you out of there and get the next person in.
And one thing, and another thing that I try to that it's kind of hard for me when you're going to an audition and there's other people in the room that's going for the same role as me.
Oh, it's pretty awkward, huh?
You kind of psych yourself out,
Right,
it's kind of
right.
hard, because I'll never forget I went to this one big audition in Atlanta, and that's my hometown, and I was so excited. It was at the big studio, and
Wow.
I go in there, and man, I sent a video audition, and they called me in, so it was a callback, and it was down between me and two other women,
Wow.
boy. And and we're human. We're looking. So there's a one lady there, and I'm thinking in my head, like, man, she looks like a school teacher. She ain't fit. I'm not even casting, but that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
And then I look at this other lady over there, and I was like, man, she's got it. She's got the look. I don't even know how her acting is. I'm just like, she's got the look.
Right.
And just right then and there, I done lost it because
Oh,
I
man.
done psyched myself out of it. I just knew,
Right. So, but confidence is number one and key. You
Yeah.
gotta have confidence.
But it's a hard business. I'm
Right.
not perfect by any means. I work hard, and I try to do as best I can, but it's tough. It's
Hard
tough
work, hard
out
work
there.
always pays off. And like you said earlier, I go back to said, you have to have tough, thick skin in this industry, and take everything with a grain of salt. And if something don't work out, move on.
Oh
And like
yeah.
you alluded to earlier, it's like eventually something's going to come your way, and something's going to
It
click,
will. It
and you're going
will.
to get that big break that you're looking for.
It will. But my point is, even after that audition, and I was a little bummed out because I didn't have a real good feeling about it, you know. But right after there, I
Mm,
just went on to the next one. I try not to look back, you know, and
right.
because there's going to be a lot of no's before you get that yes.
I
So
got a question for you. Let me ask you this, because I have never been to an official audition or whatever, because I haven't really done a lot of acting. But let me ask you this: scenario, you go to an audition, they call you in to do your audition, you perform your thing, they take notes, and thank you, Mr. Silva. Well, whatever they say, thank you, and you leave, whatever. And you don't get the part. Let me ask you this: is there somewhere that your name is like put on like a thing where they take note of you maybe for something that comes up in the future?
I don't know. I do know that just because you don't get it, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you go and if you keep being persistent, keep going to all these auditions, and the same casting directors keep calling you back, even if you don't get it, that's a
Ah,
good
see, that's
thing
what I'm getting at, right?
because they're remembering you and there's something
That's
about you they like.
that's what I remember. That's what I'm saying.
You
Because
know,
so even if you don't get the thing, somehow they remember you. They put your name down or something.
because eventually something's gonna come that, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, I've seen her before. She's perfect for this," you
Right,
know.
right.
So just keep
Yep.
being persistent. Keep being
Yes.
persistent.
Very, very good words of advice. Very good words of advice. And for the people who know that's what they want to do and that's their calling, they know.
Go to your I'm talking about when you go to these SAG auditions. Let me tell you something. If you're not on your game, they are not playing.
Right.
There are people fight for these roles.
Yeah,
Okay,
serious business.
this serious business out there,
Right.
people. You need to be prepared when you go to these. If they tell you to slate, you walk in there. Oh, what is slating? What's that?
Oh my
You
gosh, no,
know,
you're done.
you're done. You're
Right.
through. They're
Right.
gonna look at you. Okay, next. If
Exactly.
you go in there and you don't have your resume correct, if you don't have your headshot correct, on to the next one. That's like, I have a
Mm,
studio at my house, and I do a lot. Video auditions are a big thing right now, and it's great because it saves. It's what it's all called. Also called what, EcoCast, right? EcoCasting,
right.
and a lot of auditions are done with video,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm lucky. I've invested and I got a little studio, but I'm no means a camera person. I do have a very good camera on my phone,
Right.
and I will do some auditions at my home in my office, like for
Mm,
independents and stuff. But
yeah.
let me tell you something. With these SAG auditions, you need to have a professional do them. I always call Gene up when I get a SAG audition
Right. Right.
because they will have a list. They will be like, I want you to zoom in on this, zoom out on that, put it, I want this scene here, this scene there. And if you do not do it exactly to their specifications, next.
Yes. Right. Just
So,
it goes just like submitting if you're a screenwriter and if your screenplay is not formatted correctly. If you have many misspelled words, that automatically ticks you off as
yep,
somebody that don't know what they're doing, even though you may have the best story in the world.
yep. That's why I don't write.
Right, I know exactly. Right, those guys are really sticklers for formatting and perfection. They really
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Right.
And then I really got it bad. Then I try to use Google Voice. Well,
All right.
Google does not understand my southern accent. So, yeah,
Right.
that doesn't work too
Oh my
well.
gosh, right. That is funny. So let's talk about a couple more things before we shut it down for tonight. What about YouTube as a resource for learning stuff in the acting?
YouTube is real good. It's real good.
Right.
There's a lot of really good advice on there. When I first started out, I went to YouTube, but YouTube's also what I looked at when I was looking at central casting,
Mm-hmm.
and got there at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So that could go both ways.
Right.
That could go both
Right.
ways.
Right.
But there are some other ways you can find work. Oh, I did want to say, if I didn't say before, backstage. I hear a lot of people, they're asking about backstage.com.
Oh, yeah,
They've
right.
got
Right.
mixed feelings about it.
Right. There's some questionable stuff over there in the past. But, I
Yeah,
think they
well,
cleaned all that
let
up.
me
though.
let me. I am. I'm gonna. I've got to give backstage a good thumbs up. They have cleaned up their act a
Yes,
lot.
they have. They sure have. Yeah. 'Cause they
I
had to.
have a membership with backstage, and I've got some pretty good work, mainly like hair shows and stuff with modeling,
Right.
which was great. Styling
Mm.
as a styling model, because I would never want them coloring or cutting my hair.
Right.
Talking about the headshots again,
Mm-hmm.
but styling models. So I found some work. I've more than made up for the money I've invested into it. So
Yes, that's great.
yeah, with my experience, backstage is cleaned up a lot. Still, of course, go into everything with caution. That's you know,
Right.
with any casting site.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah,
Ooh, yeah, so much out
just
there.
use common sense. You know, common sense goes a long ways.
That's the name of the game right there, right? And it's like I said, if something that you really want to do and you cut out for, you're gonna do good. You're gonna make it. Just keep listening to people like us, because I like Carstil. She can guide you in the right direction. Gene Francois is another great expert in the
And you
industry.
too.
Me too.
Dave,
yeah,
if people
yes.
don't know, you're a producer.
I
You
have.
produce
Right,
a couple movies.
I've done short
and
films before, yes, and I'm working up to my first feature film pretty soon. But I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
It's a long process and everything.
It's going to be coming. It's going to be coming
Yes,
soon.
absolutely, and I appreciate that. Yep, it's a lot of fun. So I'm all about getting everybody together and getting this information out to people. And you're a great person to have on the team. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
thank you so much.
Yes, that's good. Very good. And yeah, we thank you for all the stuff that you have. Before we go, is there anything on your paper that we need to go over, or did you miss? You think you have everything on here?
I think that
'Cause,
was.
those are all good little nuggets
Yep.
of information right there.
I think that was about it. You know, just
Yeah.
if you just follow those steps, school, headshots, okay, networking, resume, video reel. You know,
Yep.
that's what you need in this industry. And
Yep.
in order to get the video, you're going to have to do some free work. You're going to have to do student films. I know we've said it
Yep.
twice already, but student films are great.
Yes, they are. Right.
Man, because
Yes.
they have a timeline, and you know you're going to get your
Right.
video.
Yes,
You know you're
right.
going to get your reel quickly.
And a lot of student films have
Yes.
great equipment to work with too.
Yes, they do.
That's a very good thing. Yes,
It-
especially
yes.
Loyola. I think in New Orleans they put out some great student films. High
Oh
quality,
yeah.
very high
Oh
quality.
yeah. So student films, independent films, you know, you may have to
Yes.
do not may, you will have to do that, you know, unless you want to pay somebody a good bit of money to write and direct
Right.
something for you.
Right, exactly.
And you know,
Right.
I don't know
And,
about you, but I'm just not there yet.
No, they probably never will be. But the whole name of the game is to do it for the right reasons. You don't do it for the fame and fortune. If that comes, great.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You do
look,
it to tell a story.
I am an actress. I'm not gonna lie. I love being on the camera, but I'm not in it for fame and fortune. If
Right.
it happens, great. It's like winning the lottery.
Right,
You know, it's
exactly
really
right.
like winning the lottery. You know.
Right.
But what you
you're-
can hope for, I'm sorry.
No, go
that-
ahead. Oh, you go
well,
ahead.
what you can hope for is with a lot of hard work and a lot of persistence, one day being able to at least, you know, support yourself doing it. I'm not
exactly.
saying be rich by any means, but support yourself.
Yes, right. It's possible.
And that's my goal, just to be able to work doing what I love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can get there, then great. I've succeeded, you know.
Yes, that is awesome. That's great.
So, you know, have realistic, before you decide you want to get into this industry, have realistic expectations.
Yes, that's correct. That's very, very
Be
good.
very realistic about what to expect, you know.
Yes.
It is a very tough industry. If it wasn't tough, there'd be a lot more people in it, pursuing this.
That's exactly right. And what you're doing is when you're getting into the film industry, you are helping people tell their story, and you're becoming part of a story through as being an actor or whatever. And that's a really cool thing about bringing something on paper to life, which is just amazing. It really, really is to see words on a paper. Just think about this. I was
Yeah.
thinking the other day how cool this is. You're the most epic films that you've ever seen in your life. Titanic, Star Wars, all these big, huge, epic. They are all nothing but a 110-page screenplay. till
Yep.
somebody puts it in motion and in action.
Exactly.
And so everything is born with a great story. That's where it all starts. And as actors and actresses, we bring that story to life.
And that's the great
I
part
know
about
that
it,
is,
you
it's just
know.
magical. It really is. It's really cool. That's to me, that's the glitz and glamour
Oh
of
yeah.
being in
Oh
acting.
yeah.
So
It
it's
really
not, it's not the red
is.
carpet. It's actually seeing the story from somebody's mind come to life.
It
There's no
really
feeling
is.
like it. No feeling like it.
No feeling in the world.
That's why the entertainment industry is
That's
just
why we that's why we work so hard to get there, you know.
right. Exactly. So,
But
and the thing is, if you can put your best foot forward, put all the hard work in. At the end of the day, you know you did that. You can sleep well at night and know that you did right.
yes, you can.
Yep.
Yes, you can. I just want to thank all of you guys
Yes.
for tuning in. I'm not an expert. I just wanted to, try to help those that are really first starting out, know what I went through and kind of guide you in the right direction because it was trial and error for me. Let me tell you, it's still trial and
Right.
error.
Yeah, for a lot of people, most people.
You are
yeah.
constantly learning. So, on
Yes.
that note, I just
Yes.
want to tell you thank you for listening in, and I hope I was some help to you. And also, before we cut the show off, I want to tell everybody please tune in Sunday from 3 to 4.
Yes,
We're
yes.
going to have Phaedra Thomas with us from Baby Faye Productions.
Yes, yes, yes.
She is a producer, writer, everything, and just an all-around great woman. And
Yeah, can't wait.
I cannot wait to have
Yes.
her on our
Right.
show.
And of course, you were in her film as part of the cast and crew.
Yes, I was.
I
Yes,
cannot
I
wait. That's
was.
gonna be great.
And she'll be on here talking about her upcoming films. She has 2 films
Two of
coming
them, right,
out.
Right.
So I'm going to save all that for Sunday. I don't want to
Yes.
give anything away.